Hi, hola. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Hope everybody's Sunday has been nice. It's been peaceful, productive. I hope those that have been able to rest has done so. Many have not. Therefore, I hope and pray that even if you have not been able to rest, that you've been able to be productive. Right? So, peace and blessings to everyone. And if you're coming in, please tap the like button. And if you're catching the replay, if you don't mind, just make sure that all of your notifications are on because I tend to go live. I don't have a set schedule. So, whenever I go live, if you have on all notifications, hopefully you will at least get most of them. Right? So, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. And we're going to get right off into it, right? So, as you can see, the title is If the Parents Crash Out, What Happens with Our Children? Do we care? Right? Do we care? At the end of the day, where do our children come into the scheme of our lives, of our priority, of are they the most important things? Are they the most important investments? Are they the most important priority? I really can't find another word for it. You know, this world is so busy. It's just so full of um, responsibilities. Most people are in survival mode. Most people are just trying to make it, just trying to plan ahead if possible, just trying to survive, just trying to stay motivated. And by the time you either go to work or you run your own business, when you come home, what do you have left for your family? And though this is not just predicated to children, the children is my primary focus. The family unit comes with the responsibility of taking care of the life that we bring into this world. And I hope my desire is that more parents and more life givers get back to feeling the same way if we don't already. I know society wise, we are lacking in that area. Collectively, all we have to do is look at our children. All we have to do is look at our children in the state, even if it's not our children specifically. If your children goes to school and you attend any school events, you're going to see collectively what parents are pouring or not pouring into our children. And unfortunately, we are living in a generation where we have parents that really have not been taught or they've lost the value system to pass along to our children. And that's unfortunate. But I want to propose and to resubmit the idea that it's okay for us to invest in our family first. It's okay not to always 100% put ourselves first. It's okay for us to think of others outside of ourselves, and particularly when we are life givers, when we make the conscious decision to bring children into this world. We have time to make decisions as such, from preventative to other choices, right? Including adoption, including family members being willing to step up, someone we trust. If we don't want to go the route of terminating pregnancies, we can still give life and give those children opportunities without subjecting them to not having any opportunity at all. And I want to resubmit and repropose that it's okay for us to put family first and not look a certain type of way if we don't succumb to being narcissistic totally in this culture that promotes individualism, that promotes separatism, that promotes self-isms, right? And so, as you can also see, if you clicked on the thumbnail, one of the people that I like to give credit to and that I have learned from and that I still learn from is Papa Duck. Shout out to Papa Duck. And we're going to take a few clips from one of his videos where he focuses on relationships. And we're going to break these things down, and I will give my commentary as well as my reaction, whether I agree or whether I disagree with whatever his talking points are. And so, with no further ado, I want to, family is everything, Bolo. Salute to Bolo. VNR, please drop your channel and your links in the chat. If you would, Bolo, please go and check Bolo out. Bolo is my dear Jamaican friend that has his own channel and his own page. And he drops gems every time he clicks the live button. And I appreciate him, and I feel you will too. Family is absolutely everything. And without family, our identity, our legacy, our ideologies, our testimonies, our personal journeys, they perish with us if we don't have anybody to pass it along to. And how unfortunate and how sad, because there are people, whether there are people that are unable to have children, that chose not to have children, it just was not the best situation during their childbearing years. For whatever the reasons are, people will live, and they have for centuries lived full lives or long lives. And really, I won't negate the fact and say that they didn't have children to pass it down to, because I want to correct myself. I also want to give credit to the aunties, whether they're bloodline aunties or figurative aunties, ones that have stepped up in the role because they made the conscious decision for whatever reasons not to have children. And they mother somebody's child, or they're a source for somebody else's child or children to lean on, to confide in, for to be able to guide and give wisdom to. I shout out to them. I shout out to anybody that cares enough about our children to give the best of them to our children. Because this is a generational thing. This is not an individualistic ideology or idea. This is real life. And once these children get here, the fact of the matter is that they don't teach themselves. They have to be poured into. They have to be guided. They have to be instructed. And first and foremost, they have to be loved. And love is an action. It's a verb. It is not a noun. It is something you do. It is something that you are. It's an action word. And we need to get back to showing our children just how much thought, energy, time, and love that we poured into them even getting here. And once they're here, at that point, It is our responsibility. It is our duty to make sure that these children are reared, they are poured into, they are guided, they are directed, they are supported. They are supported. You cannot love a child without supporting that child. They cannot be separated. They go hand in hand. Right? So with that being said, because y'all know especially when it comes to our children, I get long-winded. So I'm going to catch myself and we're going to pivot. We're going to go ahead and listen to one of the first talking points that I would like to just let Papa Duck say for himself. Let's go.
Let me cut y'all right off. A lot of women, y'all must understand that your children see every damn thing you do.
Yes.
If you sit in the mirror, you put your little tight clothes on, hey, take a picture of me, your child, listen, children and people in general learn more of what they see than what they hear and what they read. Let me say that again. Children and people learn more of what they see than what they read and what they hear. So if you sit in the mirror, you put in a little tight, then your homegirl come around smelling like weed, liquor, they talking about it. This is why I say when you get a man who know what he want,
it's different.
Before he meets you, that shit ain't gonna fly. I don't care if they're your turn, my turn. You cannot represent me in that light. This is why I say you're gonna have a different, and I'm not trying to be combative. I'm not trying to say it's gonna be hard to be with a man like me.
Right.
I'm just saying there's some things that a real woman, or I like to say a queen, will not tolerate. And a king ain't gonna tolerate it neither. So
listen, he said it, and it's all encompassing as far as I'm concerned, that it starts with the life giver, the life bearer, the mother. We are the first point of contact before the child even is born into this realm. We bond with that child for 10 months, give or take. It is at that point when life is conceived and we become aware of it, the bearer of the responsibility, it falls on us as the mothers. You can't skirt around that. You can't navigate around that. You can't excuse yourself around that, because the fact of the matter is that it's the order of things and how God created us. And we have a responsibility and a priority to set the best example possible, since we were the ones that made that ultimate choice to bring life into this world. There is something that goes with that. You don't get to just make that monstrosity of a decision, and then when the child gets here, you want to minimize it and act like it didn't weigh what it weighed. Miss me with it. And as a man and as our king, he has every right as well as a duty and a responsibility to expect nothing less from the one that gave life and that he helped produce a child with. We underestimate and we minimize giving birth and giving life and creating and procreating children. We minimize that in this culture to the point where there are abortion clinics more than there are birthing clinics. We have succumbed to the ideologies. We have succumbed and acquiesced to the culture of this country, where they are doing everything to prevent us from procreating. At this point, it is not just an opportunity, it is a blessing. There are so many odds that are against us. There are so many convenient opportunities for us to not give it what it requires as a parent, as a life giver. It takes someone or someone's for it to be instilled and the foundation to be laid strongly for us to stand up and say, you know what? This is the biggest responsibility I have ever been given, I will ever be given. And it is a pass or fail. And you get a small window, baby. You don't get a big window. You get one opportunity to get it right, or you are risking losing not just your children or your child, but your entire lineage. What you pour in, you get out. Let me be clear. And though there are times where you feel like you pour in and you don't really receive the desired outcome or what you consider to be the natural order of things, but once you plant those seeds, God steps in and it's out of your control. But up until that point, you don't get an excuse. You don't get to excuse neglecting life that you chose to bring into this world. Let's continue. Welcome to those coming into the chat. I appreciate y'all. Hold on. I'm in my bag, y'all. I'm in my bag.
So at the end of the day, you just can't represent me like that. You get what I'm saying? Putting all this little bit, and you're going out and then your daughter, which is my daughter.
Yep, same thing. Yep.
Seeing all this here.
Yep.
Your son, he's seeing all this here. No. Yep. So that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You ain't finna do all that.
Like back then, it started when you were younger.
Yeah.
And they showed you what it was to have a boyfriend, what it meant to get married, what it is to bring a man home, bring a woman home.
Right.
Now you bring a woman home. If they cool enough, they settle.
Hey, you know what though? I just learned this
Selena.
a couple years ago. When I was young,
Good to see you.
I never wondered why me and my cousins and all us, we had to stay at my grandma's house. You know why? Because my mama told me that if the man went in, if our father wasn't home with our mother, we couldn't stay with our mama. Only on the weekends.
See, it's deep.
See, it's different now. Yeah. Only on the weekend we can go home with our mama. But if our daddy wasn't there, we had to go back and stay with grandma.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, I learned something. Because even though that happened in my home, I didn't understand the significance of it, right? So he's saying that the maternal, like the grandparents, the grandmother, in his case, if his father wasn't home, he and his siblings were sent to his grandmother's house. That is letting you know and reaffirming that time is swift and it's of the essence. It counts. And you know when you go to grandma's house, you're going to get that knowledge. You're going to get those gems. You're going to get that wisdom. Even if you don't understand it, your grandparents are going to be planting those seeds. I'm grateful for the time that I spent with my grandparents. It wasn't a lot, but honey, there was something in my spirit that knew or recognized the significance of it, even without it being explained to me. Because in those brief and small moments, I am in my 50s and I remember those words being spoken from my grandparents like it was yesterday. There is such significance in when it is spoken that it takes a village to raise a child. I'm going to say that again. It takes a village to raise a child. And I'm going to say this. It is to our sheer detriment living in such an individualistic mindset. Everybody got their own house. Everybody got their own cars. When I say everybody, I mean collectively, because obviously it's not everyone. But I will go as far as to say that it is a majority. because it's the world and the culture that we live in that is being promoted, the ideology that you having your own means you're a boss, means you're strong, means that you don't need nobody. We all need some bodies, plural. It's too much responsibility just to depend on one person. It's unfair to that person that you depend on. You need a village. You need a family unit. You need community. Let's continue. I do want to, I'm going to be doing certain timestamps, y'all. So hold on a second.
A respectable dude ain't finna let you listen to no cussing music around them children.
Not at all.
Okay,
Why you in the car?
go back just a little bit.
But we ain't bashing men and women. What we saying is like this here. It started home first.
Be careful what you post.
Yeah.
You know your children following you. You know what I'm saying? And let me, before we go to the next topic, we still gonna be on the list, but before we go to the next topic, let me say this. Let me throw out some pointers for when you know you got a respectable dude around your child.
Oh, gee.
Right?
Talk about it.
I got to get to him. I got you.
It's a problem because a lot of them don't understand that. A lot
They
of
finna
them
understand today. I'm finna get it to him.
Man.
They finna understand.
Talk
I'm
about
gonna give you
it.
a couple things to let you know you got a respectable dude. For one, a respectable dude ain't finna let you listen to no cussing music around them children.
Not at all.
While you in the car listening to this and this and that, sucking this and all that, making a stay. A real dude will say, look at one look and let you know you better cut that shit off.
It should be starting with the mama. But if it doesn't start with the mama, then that's why you got the pappy. Because it takes two, right? So two should be in the correction business. And even if that is not the biological parent of the child, but it has become the spouse that you chose, y'all need to be on the same accord when it comes to these children. Period. End of story. Mamas, if you're picking men and you're putting these men before these children to the point where you don't even feel like it's necessary to vet the men as potential good bonus fathers, male parental custodians of your children, then you're looking for the wrong thing and you're being selfish. We can't just keep coasting through looking at the physical attraction, looking at the physique and the external characteristics of these people that we invite into our homes, our lives, our beds, and into our children's hearts. I'm not trusting nobody into my child's heart until I am 100% unequivocally certain that every waking moment, that child, my child, is going to be considered before I will. Right or wrong, whether you agree with me or you don't, that's how I operate. And I'm telling you, if more of us operated under that same construct, we would be yielding different children. Because most of our children, unfortunately, in this day and age, aren't being parented by both biological parents. People are moving on. People are choosing different spouses once these children are here. But what is the vetting process? What qualities are we looking for in our spouses, our potential spouses and parental custodians of our children? If I can't trust you around my child, I don't give a damn what you bringing to the table for me. If my child is being neglected, we ain't got nothing else to talk about. I wish you well. Let's continue.
Yes.
Because he ain't gonna let you do that around the kids, and you shouldn't do it either.
Yes.
Another reason is a real dude, especially stepdaddies, they'll never walk around your children, especially little girls, with their shirt off,
Hey,
with their pants hanging off their ass.
people in back.
You know what I'm saying?
Never walk around.
They'll never do that.
That shirt off.
Smoke cigarettes around them. They ain't gonna do those things.
Behind
Yeah, cussing around them. or just letting them see certain things that's inappropriate. These are telltale signs that this dude gives a damn. But when you got the opposite of that, it's your fault, mama.
Yeah.
It's your fault, mama. Yeah. And you must understand, we all are reflections of ourselves. Everything that's outside of us is just a reflection of what's inside of us. So if you can tolerate that and you're okay with that, that means you that type of person.
Salute to Complex Design in the building. Thank you. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for coming through. Let me just say this. He's right. It is our fault, mamas, because we didn't vet properly or thoroughly enough. We did not take the due diligence or the time and put our personal lustful desires to the side in order to prioritize, will this be a good fit for our children? Because before anybody meets your children, you should have enough information, knowledge, and understanding about that person to where there shouldn't be a shadow of a doubt with you meeting your children or your child. That to me is key in answering questions such as, is he going to be a good influence or she on my child? Is he or she going to be willing to pour into my child? If you can't dress appropriately around my child without me having to say something, that's a red flag for me. There are certain things that should not have to be explained. And if it does have to be explained, it's okay. You just ain't for me. It's what it is. Let's go.
Yes.
That's what that means. Now let's move right along.
Bro, this is a hard topic though, man.
We gotta
think about it. You said big thing.
Let's look at that. Oh, wait a minute. I missed it. God dog it.
Yes.
That's what that means. Now let's move right along.
Treat the internet like alcohol, none till 21. Now, I know that may be unrealistic. I'm shifting a little bit, but I did not want to bypass that comment because the internet is so instrumental and such a powerful influence on our children that whether they have or you have a mother and a father in the home or a parental balanced influence on your children, the internet is going to be a challenge once you open your children up to that. And that is when the foundations laid, the energy, the time, the wisdom that has been poured into your children is going to show, or lack thereof. So I just wanted to make that side note, but I didn't want to let that pass because that's, to me, that's optimal. My youngest son I wouldn't allow him, or actually me and dad didn't allow him, but I was like, no social media accounts until you're 16 years old. And I still think that's too young, but because he plays sports and he is very active in his sports, they make sure that you require it, even if it's just for that reason. But we all know you can establish a social media account for that reason. However, we already know that scroll up and down thing got a power of its own. So, all right, I digress. Let's keep it pushing.
Bro, this is a hard topic though, man.
We gotta
think about it. You said big thing. Take a real, like let's say, you got a real man on your children, man.
Yeah,
you like no shirt on. That's big.
That's big.
You got walk around with shirts all on the kids.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
No, don't.
Cussing music.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Coming out smoking weed or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We ain't doing that. And one more thing too, because I hear little stuff here and there before we go to the next topic about step kids and stuff like that. Sometimes people will bash the stepfathers for what they're doing, right?
Yes.
But let me say this, right? The reason why I would take care of my stepchildren the way that I do is because I want my baby mama to put a man that resembles me over my own kids.
Whoa.
That'll do the same damn thing.
This is the podcast, y'all.
You feel me?
This is the Power Up Podcast.
Do the same thing.
Uncut. We ain't cutting no corners over here.
And the thing about it is this: you cannot determine who your kid's mother fall in love with. Long as she plays somebody over your children that them kids respect, and he respect your kids in return. So that's why I go all out for my step kids or whatever the case may be. Because like I say, I would want my kids to have that same resemblance in their life.
True.
So that's just that. Now,
that's powerful. Okay, because realistically, we live in a world where the father or the mother may not remain in the home to raise their own biological children. People move on, they shift, they move. Guess what? That's a sign of wisdom, maturity, and vision. Vision for family lineage. Hey, salute, Mamie. Miss Sweet Wine in the building. It is so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Always good to see you. Listen, he said something. Now, I have the experience of being in a blended family. And let me tell you, it's beautiful when everybody is on the same accord. Because what it requires is the focus being on the children and taken out of yourself. A lot of the lack of emotional intelligence and the lack of empathy for other parents with somebody that you're with that have children with different parents, a lot of that drama, a lot of that discord, a lot of that chaos comes from being into self. You're not thinking of the children first. You're thinking about your damn feelings. You're thinking about how you feel. You ain't even let go of how brother man did you. Even if he left you for another female, guess what? He lied to her in some regard in order to get to where they are today. However, whatever that looks like, at the end of the day, it's about these children. And like Papa Duck said at the beginning of the stream, these children watch what we do. And if it does not coincide and match what we say, we lose their respect right off the rip. And if your actions don't coincide with your words, and they are young, you have planted a seed. Don't get it twisted. It may not be the seed that you wish to grow, but you still planted it nonetheless. And we need to get that straight, because we live also in a time where people refuse to take accountability for hardly anything. But life is going to show you. And if life don't show you, them kids going to show you. You ever want to know what type of person you are when you're looking into your children, in their eyes and in their actions? It's telling you who you are. I said what I said. Let's go. In that order, Mamie. In that order.
Stepkids, like I said, stepkids are me. Been a big part of my life. You know, people really know me over that. But like I say, like, it's a level to that, because I had a stepfather that beat my mom and did things like that with my mom. So I always said, like, guys, I'm talking to the men right now, the men. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. If you got little kids growing up and you not treating their mother right, them kids get grown one day. In the back of their mind, so much stuff go on. So they will resemble you at 17, 16 years old. It's gonna happen. So just because they're young, treat their mother good, because you never know how they're gonna treat you. But if you don't, they're gonna resemble you. And that's how I feel like with stepkids. Like, even if me and mom break up, guess what happens? The kids still love me because the father forgot I did for them. But that's when you know you did good. You did good.
When them kids still love you, even though you ain't with the mama, that's just what it is. But like I say, man, we definitely gonna.
Stepfather's stepfather's one of the biggest things, because you know why? A lot of men have to come in the household with a ready-made family, and a lot of times gonna last. But I'm telling y'all, man, like, let me tell you something. Treat them kids well, and don't treat the kids well and do the mama wrong, because the kids see that too.
Of course.
I mean, I ought to play hand in hand.
That's another thing too, is this too, right? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I hear women say, you know, well, you treat your step kids better than your real kids. You know, we've seen it.
Yes.
But from a man's perspective, I'm just speaking from my perspective. Now,
Yes.
everybody's situation is different. But sometimes what men would do as they've gotten older and as they've went through these processes, they start to learn how important it is. And a lot of them will pick it up with their step kids.
Yes.
And it's not that they don't love their real kids. Because like I say, it's all kind of situations.
Yes.
You never know what happened. Maybe he wasn't mature enough. Maybe it was because of the mother.
Yes.
It's so many reasons. But one of the main things is when you get a chance to pick it up and do things you really want to do with your real kids, you pick that up with your step kids. Same way with grandparents. You know, when the grandparents didn't treat you right, they tend to take it up with your children and make up for that.
Whoa, say that again,
For real though.
We absolutely compensate. It's in our nature. It's a proclivity that we possess to right our wrongs. And when you have children, if you have multiple children, the fact of the matter is you're going to learn from that first child. That's a lot of times, that's why we have the issues and the dynamics that switch from the first child. If you have a middle child, if you have a, you know, once you have the baby child, and so on and so forth. A lot of them, well, all of them have different personalities, but your relationship is going to be different with all of them, mother or father, because we all process parenting differently. And the fact of the matter is, speaking from my experience, nobody gave me a manual or a book. There are definitely some things raising my oldest son that I said once I had my youngest. I'm like, ooh, I learned from that. I'm not going to repeat that mistake. we're not going to go there. And that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. So he is absolutely right. And I was blessed enough to have children when my parents were living, and they were able to establish relationships with my children. And their relationships with my children were so different from their relationship with me. I valued that. I appreciated that. I was not jealous of that. I did not envy that, not in the least bit, because most people around me that had children, their parents weren't privy to that type of a relationship, or they weren't here to establish and grow that type of a relationship. It's just the way it is, y'all. I got to break that down to a science. It is what it is, and it's more common than not. So I do want to go forward a little bit to another talking point, and we're just going to go right off into it. I appreciate y'all being here. I hope I'm not being too long-winded. As you know, I'm passionate about our children. I'm passionate about family units, about the family being the foundation of the community, of survival, of like you look at any other culture, sometimes you just gotta, when you look at other cultures, the one thing all of them have in common, whether their dialect, their language, their culture, their environments, even down to the way they eat, how they sleep, what their home environments resemble, their belief systems, religions, if you will. The one thing they all have in common is that family comes first. Not only does it come first, it stays first. When parents and when families establish businesses, they incorporate the children, the grandchildren, the nieces, the nephews into the business. Because one thing is for sure and two things are for certain, we're going to check up out of here at some point. And what a shame to take all of the life's lessons, wisdoms, experiences, trials and tribulations with us and not be able to pass that along. So with that being said, Complex Design says, as a widower, this is an interesting take. Amen. 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 I'm so glad to see you here. Let's continue.
Are the ones telling our women, you got to get a big booty.
Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I did say I was gonna go up. I did. Okay. All right. All right. All right.
But they ain't gonna tell their women that shit. Oh, you gotta have perky titties. But they ain't gonna tell their women that shit. Men, you gotta have this kind of car. You gotta have this going on. And what I'm trying to explain to y'all is we are all victims.
Yep.
We are all victims and being told what to do by people that don't look like us. I told y'all we're not free. We never was free. We just been assimilated. What does that mean? If we was free, we would have our own congregation, our own White House, our own elections, our own president. We don't. All they said was, y'all niggas can be free. Supposedly, just come over here where we at, but we're gonna still govern and dictate everything.
Wow.
We're not free, bro. That's the illusion of freedom.
Wow.
They know how to. That's why I say, bro, when you really break this stuff down, right? Our children ain't just picking up guns and shooting other children for nothing. They're being programmed. Yep. Our women ain't using sex, shaking their ass on every post for nothing. Yep. They've been programmed. Yep. Men ain't just running around here thinking it's about this and thinking it's about that. We've been programmed. We've all been programmed. Yep. Now, if I could go back and say, listen, let me tear all this shit down and build it back up. I did a post today and I talked about how
he just said something powerful. He said a few things powerful. The first thing he said is that it's not all our faults, right? It's not an excuse to not be held accountable or hold ourselves accountable. What it does do is put things in perspective, though, because we have been programmed. The last, I would say, 5 or 6 years for me, around the time I lost my mom, maybe a little longer, I realized that, I don't know, it wasn't like I woke up one morning and realized I just had this, my third eye was totally open and I just realized that everything wasn't everything. It was a gradual process, but it was fast, because once you go to break out of that matrix or you go to change your reality, it starts in your mind. It begins with the mindset. So once you start asking that one question and you don't get an adequate answer, or depending on the answer that you get, now you got 1,000 more questions. Oh, is that right? Well, let me see. This ain't sounding right. So let me go ahead and do some research, or let me, fill myself with some information and prayer, meditation, and the word. Because we're not going to take this word out. The word is being spoken during this live without scriptures being iterated. Why? Because there is a natural order of things. And if you don't know any scriptures, or if you're not invested into the word, biblically speaking, God did give us critical thinking and common sense. So if we're able to tap into that and we are able to decipher that that's what it is, then that will change and facilitate the change of our reality, right? So I just wanted to say that we are in a simulation, and it's been so ingrained in us generationally. I always hear people talk about our ancestors. I'm talking about just my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and great-grandfather. Not just a couple of generations back. I met them when I was young. Well, not my greats, but my grands. And they were definitely solidified in their belief systems, in their religions, in their mindsets. They were not easily swayed, if at all, right? And they believe what they believe. And of course, we're their predecessors. So they pass those things down to us. And because we love them and trust them, and they're our first point of contact, we believe them. However, the word also says in the book of Revelations that we will know when we are in the last days. of this system of things, of how this world operates. And that's been solidified to me based off of the desperation of the demons and the demonic energy to separate, to be divisive when it comes to the family, because that's the first point of attack for them is the family. If you look at a pack of any animal that runs collectively, which is all of them, whether it's ants, whether it's lions, whether it's hyenas, whether it's turtles, whether it's ducks, they all keep that family unit cohesive. I saw yesterday, and this is not the first video I saw, but this as recent as yesterday, I saw a mama duck. Those drain grills in the ground when the baby's gonna go right after the mamas, and the mama got enough sense to step around it, but all the babies dropped through. And the mama had enough sense to get to the attention of a passerby. And she kept pecking at the lady, and the lady thought she was just like maybe in her personal space or whatever. But when she went to go walk off, the duck followed her. She kept pecking at her. And finally, she started hearing all of these different, little chirps. So she went back and all of her babies had dropped. I think it was like 11 of them had dropped into the drain. And she couldn't lift up the grill to get them out. So she went to a neighbor's home on the street and grabbed a couple of men that came out with a crowbar, and they pulled it up. And they pulled the babies out and gave them back to her mama. And I loved whoever the videographer was. Once all of the babies had been collected and given back to the mama duck, you could see them in the water, act like they didn't even miss a beat. Why? Because they were cohesive. They were together again. Mama was not going to be okay with them being separated. They were young, they were babies, and they were vulnerable without the parental guidance of the Lifegiver. And that goes with any animal, including humans. You separate us. And they understood this enough to the point, by the time we got it, we in a pickle. Collectively, we are in a pickle because now we got to dig ourselves out. And that's not going to be easy to do because the system and the programming is so ingrained and it's taken such a hold. And we've become so dependent collectively on a system that does not value us. That the only answer, and I will scream this from the mountaintops until I have no more breath in me, that until we unite and until we get out of ourselves and look at lineage, community, and that means being selfless. But most of us don't know how to do that. We're sitting ducks. We're weaker. We're more vulnerable. We are not in a position to make demands when we can be picked off one by one, starting with our children. Enough said. Let's continue. We got Miss 504 in the house. Welcome. Just showing support. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know what? When it comes to family, nothing is more important to me. It makes me teary-eyed. I want to see, and let me just sidebar for a second since we got Miss 504 in the house. I'm looking at this sector, and I know we've been noticeably absent. I'm going to speak for me, because some people have taken a back seat, but I'm going to speak for me. I've taken a step back because this is not the way this is supposed to be going. And because it is such division in the sector, and a lot of us are day ones, a lot of us, we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy building relationships, even if it's just virtual. We have built relationships on this internet. And all it takes is for us to lean on our own understanding. We cannot continue to lean just on our own understanding. This system is much more sophisticated than that. And what we're going through extends much further out than the Kwame Brown bus life sector. We got real life shit that we are dealing with, y'all. We got our children, we got grandkids out here that depend on us. And a lot of us are on this platform being petty, doing tit for tat. And then there are some that are trying to stand their ground and be strong because they don't feel like they have nobody else. We have to get to a point where survival and lineage is more important than what we standing on at the moment. And a lot of times we only work with what the tools that we have. And I'm not faulting anyone for that. I'm just saying it's not enough. It's not enough. We can have all of the discernment in the world. We can have all of the high vibrational, incremental moments that come through. However, there is nothing that supersedes us being a unit collectively. Because I'm going to tell you something. This sector ain't going to mean shit when the shit hit the fan. In real life, though. Shout out to Kwame Brown, bus life. It ain't going to mean a hill of beans at the end of the day. These little sidebar tit for tats. We got some real demons in this sector, y'all. And I've just gotten to a point where I can't sit in it and stir in it without something in my household and something in my lineage paying the price. I am saying what I'm saying. And I don't dislike or hate anyone. My heart, I pray for all of us on a regular basis. And it's okay if we don't see eye to eye. It's okay if we don't agree on everything. But what I do understand is at the end of the day, what we're dealing with in this sector is small as fuck compared to what the powers that be have planned for us. How many more ways do they have to tell us they don't want us here in existence? How many ways do they have to tell us, thanks to COVID, and probably prior to that, but if that didn't get everybody's attention, how is it that we're reverting and going back to the same shit? Y'all, that's insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting different results. We have bigger fish to fry. We have real life issues. We're in a political season that whether we participate, vote, or we don't, they are going to play with us like they have been. Nothing is going to change no matter who gets into office. That is my personal opinion, and that's how I see it. I've lived through 14 elections, presidential elections, give or take one or two. I know there's been 17 since the 60s. I was born in the 70s. And nothing when it comes to the Black culture and the African American has changed or benefited us as a people. And I'm in my 50s. We have got to get to a point where something is bigger than what we got going on. And I'm not minimizing doxing. I know I done switched subjects, but this needs to be said, and I feel compelled to say it at this point in time. I'm not minimizing the damages that have been done to those that have felt the effects of your personal life, your personal business, all things that you never anticipated being put out there, true or false, being put out into the atmosphere on this platform. However, log off, move around, take a step back, to the left, to the right, dodging whatever is coming at you, because this is all a distraction for what's real and what's about to come down this pike. Do y'all have bug out bags? Do you have a place that if a natural disaster hits and everything that you know in life as you know it is no more, again, we're going back to family, the people that you love? Do y'all have a meeting place, an identifying mark to meet at? Do you have a system in place that if you go to that mark, you leave a rag tied, you leave a symbol of some sort showing that you were there and that you will return? Because once they divide the family permanently, you can kiss everything else goodbye. And everything that's going on right now is going to be such a distant memory. You're not going to care about any of it anymore. When it's all said and done, we're all going to be in survival mode until we get past this programming that we have acquiesced to and succumbed to, all of us, including me. But one thing I can say about me is I'm going to fight to break up out this thing until I have no more breath in me, and then I will come back as an ancestor and empower everything I touch. I proclaim it and I declare it in God's name right at this moment. Don't play with me. Y'all, we playing, and the time for games is over. Now, whether this resonates or it doesn't, the telling factor will be what you gonna do about it. How you gonna move from here going forward? What you gonna do for your family, for your lineage, with your wisdom, how to share your testimony and prevent others from traveling the same road that you've gone, to make their load lighter so that they can focus on more prevalent issues at hand. Because I'm telling you right now, no matter who gets elected, we in trouble if we don't learn how to unite and to get past our differences. We in trouble. All of this shit ain't gonna mean a hill of beans but a check on the 21st. And from what I'm understanding, unless you a slave to this platform, this is for entertainment purposes only, YouTube, you really ain't making the money that you deserve to make or that you think you're gonna make. So with that being said, I know, y'all, but I just had to say it. It's been on my heart. I've been sitting back and watching it, and it's been disconcerting to me, because when you have, when you're watching the news, like, even though I'm not real big in the news, but I have my own sources of news that I look into, that I go into, that kind of thing. I go into prayer, meditation, y'all. I swear I do, because I be like, Lord, this is a spiritual war. This is not a physical or tangible war. And there is so much. And most of us, honestly, y'all, we don't know. We're not tapped in enough to know what's coming down the pike. All we can do is work with what we've got. And a lot of us, if not all of us, we got somebody looking up to us, depending on us to pave the way, to provide protection, to give wisdom, to give some understanding, to give some reassurance in these times. Because let me tell you something, ain't nothing worse than being a child and you ain't got no hope. Where do you think these children get their hope from? Where do you think they get it from? The news ain't gonna give it to them. Social media ain't gonna give it to them. People that don't give a shit about them ain't gonna give it to them. Where they gonna get it from? And if we too busy infighting, and if we too busy worrying about shit that don't mean a hell of beans at the end of the day, when it's all said and done in the real life, where does that leave our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews? Where does it leave them? Drama and bullshit is what sells. It is what is profitable. It is what attracts the numbers. I get it. I get it. I've been a participant. And if I haven't typed in the chats, I've been in the bushes. But I'm also at a crossroads. And I'm tired of it, because I'm aware and my spirit won't let me rest, because it's not in the place it needs to be. Like right now, I'm looking at the camera. I ain't even looking at my numbers, but every blue moon, I'll look at my numbers. And it will remind me we in a beef sector. And you know what? It's not as easy to break out of as I thought it was. I can be transparent. I'm going to be honest, because it's real life. It's my story. But my spirit, thank God, is not a derivative of my own thoughts and understanding. My spirit is connected with God. And it's my barometer. It is my barometer of what's right, what's just, and if I'm in the right place or not. And if I'm not in the right place, I'm going to tweak that thing until my spirit is back at rest. Because I know what it's like for my spirit to be at rest. And once you get a taste of that, you're going to be looking for it. You're going to be dependent on it. You're going to thrive off of it. And that's my goal. I always talk about my peace. I don't play about my peace. And if I don't have peace, it's through decisions and choices I make. Not because of someone else. Because I have control over what has power over me and what does not. We are in a spiritual war, period. If you don't know what that means, let me break it down real quick, and then we're going to get back to Papa Duck and his perspective on family, because that's my primary focus, and it's not going anywhere. because it's in my spirit. What it means to me is, guess what? Whatever brings you peace, whatever, there's a saying one of my spiritual sisters said to me, boy, when she said it, I heard it before, but when she said it, that thing resonated with me. And every time I hear it, I hear her saying it in my ear. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. She said, sis, settle yourself. Settle yourself. When she said it, because I was whining, let's keep it 100. I was whining to her. And she loved me enough not to console me or not to coddle me. She knew, and she knew from me and our friendship what I'm made of. And she's made of, and she spoke up and she said, settle yourself. Settle yourself. Get it together. You're not a victim. You're a queen. You're a mother. You're a child of God. Not in that order. You're a child of God first. And I think she said it first. I am telling you, settle yourselves. You can detach yourself. You cut the head off of a snake, the body dies. I will say that until I have no more breath in my body. People don't want to hear that. You have some that do, and that's who I'm talking to. I don't care. I will stand on from day one when I came to this platform and I created a page and I started going live. I was going to tell my story to help others. And I stand in that. Whether it's 2 people or 200 people. I don't care about none of that. Because I know my time's not wasted, my energy and my resources is not wasted. If one person changes their behavior, their people, their places, and their things based off of something that I said, like my sis when she said, settle yourself. Whenever I become a victim, whenever I want to get on the pity pot, whenever I want to shed tears, that damn voice, settle yourself. Settle yourself. If it ain't going to affect you and your family's life, then why are you giving it the energy that you're giving it? Let's continue. I already know, y'all. I know.
America is the most individualistic country in the world. I talk about it all the time because I want y'all to get in y'all head that individualism and collectivism is 2 different ways of living, okay? This is when foreign people come over here and they all living in one house. And we used to pick at them because it's 10 motherfuckers in one house, but now they done bought the whole block. I told y'all, us as black folks, we've been conditioned to be individualistic, meaning you got 5 people living in the house. I say it all the time. 5 people leaving the house, going to work for 5 different bosses, trying to drive 5 different cars, to buy 5 different houses. That's so much strain on you as an individual till you are so easily to be conquered.
Boom. That's it. If we heard nothing else he said, that's it right there. The individualistic thinking. And they've been so successful. I don't care what avenue you work in, whether it's corporate, whether it's entrepreneurial, whether you work for the system, whether you're in the Illuminati, I don't care what it is. If you're by yourself, you're easier to pick off. You have no reinforcement. As I said earlier, if you got one person that you choose to lean on, it's too much weight for that person. I don't care how much they love you and they tell you that they got you. It's too the weight, the bear is too heavy. It's too heavy. We need our villages back. And we can't have a village without a family. If you got kids with a parent that you're not with anymore, you have grandchildren with people that you have not, that hasn't been cohesive, guess what? That's a disadvantage. Sometimes we got to eat crow to get the full meal. You're going to have to do and say and be things you don't want to be when you're looking at a bigger picture and when you have a vision. And if your vision doesn't supersede and exceed you being alive, your vision ain't big enough. If you only thinking about the here and now, and that's what they want. They want for us to sit in the very moment that we are in. That's why they got the news medias. They got radio stations, all this fear mongering, the TV programs. If they can't get you through the news stations, they're going to get you through the movies and the blockbusters with our favorite actors that everybody idolizes. When I say you have to separate totally from this system of things, that is exactly what I mean. Unlearn and relearn. You may be able to do it all by yourself, but that's not what it was designed for. That is not how you were created. Mamas, you were not meant to bear children, go to work, come home, raise the children. We weren't created for all of that. Because if that's the case, we wouldn't need no man to bring a child into this world. Mic drop. Let's go.
We are taught to self-destruct each other, bro. And they do it in ways that we don't understand or we don't even think possible or think that's happening. Like I tell you all the time, they're not signing rappers to rap about killing your own people for nothing, bro. I used to rap about that same shit. I don't know more. You think they just signing the dumbest rappers in the world? Look what it's doing to the kids. Look at what it's doing. I say it all the time. I'm gonna use Sexy Red as an example. You know who's behind Sexy Red? A Jewish guy named Yusuf.
What?
And him and another guy that's from Apple Music created the label to push Your Little Sister.
That community is behind the music industry altogether. So if there are any artists signed and pushed mainstream, they are part of the agenda. Let's not mistake that. Let's not mistake that. He is absolutely right. Whether the last name is different, the community and the ones that run the community that runs the music industry is one and the same. And if you want to know how they got to be so powerful, so wealthy, so educated, and so strong, do your research. And I bet you it starts and ends with family.
Sexy Red, your little niece. We're gonna put millions of dollars behind Sexy Red to get on stage pregnant, around all this smoke, pregnant, bare-feeted, pregnant. Number one song is Fuck My Baby Daddy.
Wow.
How you gonna blame me?
So right now, and because we can't just glide past this. Sorry. If you're bored, click off. Because I gotta say what I gotta say. Period. Click back on. If at some point you ain't with the bullshit and you want to hear real life stuff, look at Krishan Rock. I don't even listen. I'm 50 plus years old. I don't mess with Krishan Rock. But at a point, she was completely, her and Blue was, I don't even know if I got the names right, because that just lets you know, right? It is what it is. But what I do know is that she had a baby performing and drinking in clubs. She has millions of followers. And right now she's facing years in prison. The daddy is in prison or in jail for 4. I don't know if he's going to prison. I don't know what's going on, but I know numbers. And he's gone for 4, maybe 2 on good behavior, maybe a little bit less. What I will say is that baby it won't be one till September-ish. And that baby has had a rough beginning. All in the music industry. Blueface brought her on. That's what it is. He brought her on. He put her on. She took off. Spiral didn't even give herself a chance. But look at what you chose. You chose money and fame and yourself. You didn't put family first. You think you're going to be blessed? That child is cursed. That infuriates me. It pisses me off. Let's go.
True.
How I'm gonna blame you? True. But the motherfuckers we need to blame, we don't point a finger at.
Nope.
Don't make no sense.
Nope.
So we're gonna break all this shit down. We need to separate from this whole ideology, right? We need to get from under this whole regime, right? We need to get from under this government and all this bullshit, all this fake ass assassin shit they did with Trump, John Trump. Listen to me, dog. I'm gonna tell y'all something. You living in a world, it's a screenplay, homie.
Come on.
That's all it is.
Come on.
Screenplay. Why do you think it seems like the devil always winning?
Come on.
Why do good people don't have no type of even when it comes to religion, even when it comes to TV, you ever seen a movie where they got no drama? You ever seen a movie from front to back, ain't no drama, nobody get killed, ain't nobody got nothing. You've been programmed to look for this shit, bro.
Yes.
And this shit goes deeper than what I'm saying, dog. So what I'm telling you is this: the way we are behaving, people may say, oh, it's you that's behaving, or that's you that's behaving. Well, let me tell you something. You got to understand how this works. If it ain't in there, it ain't coming out of there. If it ain't in there, it ain't coming out of there. Name me one show on TV that resembles a black family.
None. Right now, none. We had from the 70s when I was being raised. I'm getting ready to go down the list because when he said this, I had to stop it, pause it, and really dig in, right? We had Good Times. We had What's Happening. Had The Cosby Show. We had Family Matters. We had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We had Martin. We had Jamie Foxx. This is just to name a few, right? We only had a few, but to us that was plentiful. Because even if like when the Cosby Show came on once a week, before they started doing reruns on the cable networks, everybody was tuned in. White, black, and other. Because outside of that, they had no other good examples or visions or optics of what a family, a healthy black family, or what we perceived and what we've been programmed to perceive. Listen, my brain, I get it. We had to, that was what we had. And we held on to that. And we used that as a barometer and a starting point and a goal of what family should look like for us. Today, I can't think of one unless you're doing reruns of the ones that I just mentioned. And how many of them are obsolete? Look at Sanford and Son. Come on, Candy James. I need you to talk to us. We got Tyler Perry's messy, sick, twisted representations of Black culture. We got a grown, physically super statured African-American man that is one of the richest men in the world, not just this country, but the world, based off of him doing satire wearing a dress, earrings, exercising a high-pitched voice, walking around with sass and big boobs, talking about he's a heterosexual man. That redefined the definition of man for many of us. It normalized a supposed heterosexual man putting on a dress. And because he was able to insulate it with jokes and satire and a few words from the scriptures, I said it. Everybody think it's okay. Candy, you said it. You said, come on with it now. Come on. Whew. We've been on here almost an hour and a half, and I could drag this out to 5 or 6, but I'm not going to do that. So let's continue. Ooh, child.
Resembles a black father, that resembles a good kid, a good husband, a good wife. All you see is ratchet shit.
Yep,
if it ain't in there,
yep.
It ain't coming out of there.
That's
and you
true.
must understand how this works, bro. If I put you in a society and I show you that this is what this is, and that could be women dressed like this, women act like that, da-da-da. That's all you know. That's like a pot of food, dog. If you don't put that seasoning in there, you ain't gonna taste it. It don't exist. So basically, you've been put in a world where you basically been taught to self-destruct. You're not been given the programs to process none of this shit.
Nothing.
Look at the drugs. Look at the alcohol. Look at the social media platforms that promote all of these things that aren't good for us. We got many out here still like, okay, so I learned years ago, and I don't take away from those that are just learning it, because I know some people feel the same way about me whenever it caught on to me, that when you go into a grocery store, you got your produce on the right hand side or the left, right or left. They're on the outside aisles. So let's put it that way. You got the meat always in the back, or typically in the back. I won't say always. You got the produce and the healthy aisles that go into your body, herbs, nuts, this sort of thing on the outside aisles, and everything on the inside aisles is processed food. It's food. And if you don't know what processed food is, it's food that has been tampered with, that has been chemicalized, if that's a word. It's been tampered. It's not in its purest form. It isn't purely from Mother Earth, right? So everything that we pretty much at this point put in our bodies, unless we grow it ourselves, we know the source of it personally, whether it's from a farm, a butcher, whatever the case may be. We know the origin of our food. It's the best way to say it. Look at all of the different ways that we are either voluntary poisoning ourselves or we're being poisoned. At the end of the day, it's by design. And we're sitting on social media talking about he say, she say shit. And then after you ingest all of the food from social media, you go to prepare either yourself or your family a meal, or you drive through a fast food restaurant and you're poisoning yourself, including me. Not so much anymore with the food, but I have my moments. I have my moments where I want to go to a Greek restaurant where they got some flavored fries. I have my moments where I want to go to Chick-fil-A and I want to hit up that lemonade, even though my body don't like dairy. It's everywhere. But are we aware? Are we even aware of it? Is my question. Okay, I can go left, I can go right. Let's keep going. I'm gonna go to, let's see. There's one more spot that I like to go to, And then we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up because we can keep going unless y'all tell me to keep going. I always got some content. So let's just start from here and see where he's going with this.
You will never be put in the position to get the knowledge and understanding and education that will allow you or put you in power to overthrow them. That shit don't make no sense. If anything, they're gonna send you to school to bring you to an animal state so that you can be controlled. Okay, you're living in the world, bro. You're doing 100 mile per hour down the wrong road. I say this all the time because I want you to understand. It don't make sense. The government will never put you in school, empower you, and give y'all all the tools and everything y'all need to overthrow them. Shit don't make no sense, bro. I told y'all about collateral consequences. 45,000 collateral consequences if you missed the last podcast. What is that? When you become a convicted felon, nigga, and niggas, you are faced with 45,000 collateral consequences, meaning you can't vote, you can't adopt, you can't put your name on rent,
Nope.
You can't put your name on a house.
Nope.
It's 45,000 different collateral consequences that you face, and in the eyes of the law, it's called damn, what's the name of it? Silvator mortis. You know what that means? That means when you become a convicted felon, now you're faced with 45,000 collateral consequences, which therefore, in the eyes of the law, you are a dead man because you cannot compete. You cannot compete. You can't take care of your family. You can't bear arms. You can't get a decent job. Why? Because you're living in somebody else's society through their ideologies. This is why the women the way they are. Because you ain't got nothing to do with it. You ain't got no say so. This is why these kids doing what they doing. This is why men doing what they doing. Because you're living in a world that is governed by people that don't look like us, that has an agenda, and they got shit to do with your black ass.
And until we separate and we get with like minds and we become self-sufficient, totally. As he has stated, probably in every video I've ever seen, you can't control nothing when you don't own nothing. And now we're living in a time where if you don't own nothing by now, you're going to have to fight for ownership of anything because their plan and their tactics are in place. It's been in motion behind the scenes while we sitting around fighting amongst one another, tearing down one another, dragging down one another, demeaning one another. And ain't nobody talking about our kids until somebody doxes them on the internet. What the fuck is going on? I can tell you, we're doing exactly what these platforms has designed for us to do. Be totally distracted, get down in the gutter with one another, and get paid to do it. I ain't doing it. Not on this platform. I have to answer to God. And I have to be held accountable for my spirit and the state of where it is. I got to live with me every day. And guess what? I also have to live, me and Dad have to live with the consequences of what we pour into our children or we don't. While we are living, as Papa Duck has so eloquently pointed out, in a time where we are programmed so far deep for many of us that we don't even know it. This is normal to many. Look at the shout out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. You can say what you want about him, but one thing he has been screaming from the mountaintop since day one is the purpose of being a celebrity, the effects of being a celebrity, denouncing being a celebrity, that third eye is open when it comes to educating his people about things that are happening at hand. Is he perfect? No. Last time I checked, none of us were perfect. What grants us the ability to judge the next man when you got shit in your backyard? When, to me, being doxxed means your imperfections are being shown because you refuse to divulge them up front. And you have created a persona that you are what you are not. That is the only way someone can dox you, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. The celebrity status, they're just pawns being used. None of them, at least they used to fool us back in the day because they had talent. We are living in a purely talentless society. They're not even trying to fool nobody because they know their time is short. They know their time is short. You gonna keep subscribing to that? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? And if you got kids that you are responsible for still, what you gonna do? Are you an advocate for your child and their education if they go to a public educational school? Are you homeschooling your children? If you're not homeschooling your children, are you in your children's business? When I say business, that means school, personal, and alike. What are you doing for your children? While we crying about people doxing them, I'm not going to cry about nobody doxing my kids because I pour into my kids. And my kids are a reflection of me. So you dox my kids, I'm going to say thank you. Because all you did was you revealed that what I said, I am. It's been a while since I said this. I am not her. I am she. Andre W. in the building. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your blessing to the platform. And I'm so super glad that you are you're listening in the bushes. Because I, you know what? That's why I do this. That's why I do this. And I show major love to my day ones. Even though I ain't been in this thing too long, I still got some day ones. You heard me? I gotta lighten the mood sometimes. Because I'll go left on y'all and I'll get serious and that'll be what it is. And I am unapologetic about what I'm saying. Because somebody got to say it, y'all. Somebody got to say it. Our babies are out here suffering. Our babies are out here and they don't know what to do. They're out here killing each other. They're not interested in things that extends out any further than tomorrow, much less 5 years from now. And that's because of us as parents. So what we've allowed them collectively to divide our families, What we gonna do about it? Now that we know, what we gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? What are you going to do about it? Whether it's your child, your grandchild, you don't have no children, but you got nieces and nephews that come to you for guidance because they can't go to their parents. Because their parents is working 2, 3, 4 jobs. And then they self-medicating just to function to get through every day. Then by the time they get home, they don't have nothing left for their kids. What are we going to do about it? Without the family foundation and the family structure, and people just loving on our children, how about we just start there? How about we just start there? We love on our babies. Let them know they matter. Let them know we care. Even though we stretched mighty thin, it don't take but words coming from our mouths to say, you know what, baby? I'm so proud of you. I know things are tough. I can't imagine being a child where your mind is still developing at this stage, at this time in history. But I got you. What you need, I got you. We are given blessings along with responsibility. We are responsible for the lives that we bring into this world. One thing I can say is that I've had a rough and rocky road at some points and junctures based on my own personal definition in my life. But I caught it quick enough to where when I started losing my elders, I started losing my matriarchs and patriarchs, I made it right enough for them to pass me the torch where they can go in peace. They can go in peace. Because as long as I got breath in my body, I'm going to fight for these kids. Not just mine. You want transparency? You getting it. Ain't no shame in my game. It ain't never been no secret. I ain't never professed to be perfect, but one thing I can say that has come to the forefront and I can stand on is I'm an advocate for our babies. And with that being said, because I'm becoming emotional, I'm going to conclude and wrap it up at this point. Actually, what I'm going to do, because I always do this, and I may just be surprised this time around, is I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link and see if anybody wants to come up and have anything to say. Because I've said a lot. I don't know. It seems like it's been a lot longer for me than an hour and 40 minutes. But listen, when I tell y'all I'm spirit moved, you can tell when I'm spirit moved and when you can tell when I'm giving the people something. Because the spirit don't move in your time. The spirit moves in God's time for me. And there's always a distinction. There's always a distinction when I'm spirit moved and when I'm just, doing what YouTube, playing the game, YouTube. I don't even like the words playing the game, because the point of the matter is that I'm not clicking live on nothing if I'm not informing my people about something. I love you, Bolo. What's going on with you?
Hey, love you too, Miss Akimi. Oh man, I just check your PayPal. You know what I'm saying? Thought you
Oh,
was just gonna end it. You know what I mean? I wanted to send you some love. You know what I mean?
always
Uh,
appreciate
I
you.
I really appreciate this. There are so much things you put forth. You know what I'm saying in this whole thing right here. I think everybody needs to hear this. I think we all need to do some self-reflecting. And if anybody ever questioned your passion, your purpose, your drive when it comes on to family, I don't think after seeing this anybody can question that. I just want to say I appreciate you and I support you, and I hope that you you know, keep on with the mission, man, because I think we all have a part to play in all of this. So thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you coming up. Always, your support is such a blessing to see you. I know that I don't make it to you. You active, baby. You real active, and I know you on a mission, and I support you. If it ain't nothing but a like, and even if sometimes I don't comment, you just know, because I get your notifications, I get your messages, and I support you in love, in life, in understanding, if nothing else. And I will definitely pop in when I'm able to. But because, and I'm sure you understand this, but I want to make everybody else aware and just submit this, right? That when I am not available, I'm on purpose, right? So it's not because I'm not supporting or I choose not to support. It's just that my plate is full. God has designed it that way at this point in life, and I accept it, receive it, and I'm not going to disappoint him in this point. So the people that support me and that understand and that are with me in this journey, whether they have expectations or they don't, it's okay either way. But like I said in your live, I'm a day one, and so are you. And I love you and I appreciate you for that.
Man, listen, I already know life is life, man. You know what I mean? So I I don't worry. If I ever worried about stuff like that, I don't anymore. Like,
You'd
you
be
understand.
miserable if you were
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like
You can't worry about stuff like that. There could be a gazillion reasons why. You know what I'm saying? People got like a lot of things going on in their real life. And life can come at you with like a curveball. You didn't even see it coming. Next thing you know, this person got all types of stuff going on with their family. So the possibilities are endless. So I don't ever put that on my mind. Like, damn, I ain't seen this person in a long while or whatever. I just know I've learned to have that tunnel vision when doing the content of focusing on the message. Whenever the message reach the individual, it will reach the individual, but it's about the message. You know what I'm saying?
come on with it, Bolo. And if 50% of us understood that, we'd be in a much different position right now.
Yeah, man.
Salute you. I salute you. And you know what? You've been through, I didn't mean to cut you short, but I got to say this. You have endured a lot in the short time that you have been on YouTube as a content creator. And I just don't want you to mistake that you are inspirational to those that are eyes are open to see. And when I always encourage you and tell you don't stop, I always encourage you and say you're on purpose, do your thing, keep your blinders on. You have done just that. And for that, I love you and I salute you for that. And you are an inspiration, whether people vocalize it or whether they don't. For the short time that you've been on here, there are times where I say, damn, I don't know how he does it. How he got 5 lives or 2 premieres and 3 lives scheduled for. Man, listen, a couple days a week. You already know what I gotta go through.
I mean, hey man, we just got different responsibilities. You,
Your journey
you,
is my journey.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what I try to do, I just try to maximize my time, and I don't sleep a lot, so which is not good. I don't recommend it, but this is my reality. I probably have some natural herbs or something I need to take to get to that place where I sleep more. But once I find energy, I'm gonna put in some work. So I'll get up 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm just going on OBS and start recording some videos because there's topics that I see that I want to react to, and they start piling up. I'm like, damn, I forgot to react to this, But yeah, Complex Design, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man? Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you guys
Happy
are doing
Sunday,
well.
brother. Salute.
Thank you for being here. You can come off
Oh,
mute.
I was just gonna let you guys go ahead and finish up, which I didn't want to interrupt.
Nah, you're good, bro.
Oh, okay. So there was a couple of things that were being spoken to earlier. I had made some comments about. I didn't mean to, like I said, I wasn't trying to interrupt or take things off subject. But there was something that was being played in the video, and I thought the brother's position was somewhat interesting. Given my position as a father, right? Um, and so like in my situation, for example, my wife is no longer with us, right? See, so I'll never be in a situation where I'm considering another man, right? Like taking over the father position in context to, say, her mother. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
Right.
You mean another woman being like a stepmom? You mean?
Give me 1 second.
How do you understand that, Mr. Kiwi?
But yeah, the way that you just asked him.
Okay.
I assume. Well, maybe I could be wrong.
Listen, I'm just asking.
I assume that he
Yeah.
meant yes, there being another female influence in his children's lives because,
Right.
I understand he's a widow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I have some family here. Yeah. So I was kind of like, I was like, that's an interesting position for men to hold. When it was like I said, it was just interesting. I was just really trying to maybe sort of frame my mind into that because that's not something I can say. I literally can't say it. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I'll always, if I were to ever get into some sort of situation, let's just say, and that person had a child, I would still, I would still have that position in terms of being somewhat of an overseer of another man's child. And let's just say if he still was here, right, there's something that has to be dealt with there on my end. But on the other side of the equation, that will never be the case. So I think I kind of wanted to get that out. Give me a second, babe. I wanted to get that out because I think that if we really think about what it is that we engage in when, dealing with people from a relationship standpoint and stuff, you have to really think about all of the various scenarios and the possible outcomes. Because I think that if people did give it some deep thought, I don't think they would engage in so much of the things that they engage in currently.
That's the point I was trying to emulate and get across, is that in my opinion and my experience, not just my opinion, but also my experience, is that it's not just about you and the potential significant other or the person that you feel may be a good fit for you, but is it a good fit for your family? One thing that I think our minds are like, a lot of our minds are closed off to, is even letting anyone else in outside of the parties that created that life. But that's not the reality we're living in. The reality that we're living in is, whether you look at it fortunately or unfortunately, is that it's transitional, and that children are still the collateral damage if we don't get
Mhm.
it right. And me being in a blended family, particularly actually with both of my sons, but my youngest son being so young because he's a minor, and my oldest one's he's grown and has been doing his own thing, is that that's it depends, the relationships, absolutely, the dynamic, the cooperation, the acquiescence of us being able to say, okay, you get this one, not that I'm giving it to you, but I succumb to this for the greater good, right, of the
Mhm.
children, because there are going to be scenarios that fit that category. If whether you're a widow, whether you chose to move on to another relationship because it didn't work out in the last relationship, you got divorced, whatever that looks like for you, these children are still there. They're not going to go away. Their needs aren't going to go away. They're looking at everything that you do, everything, listening to everything that you say, and
Mhm.
if it doesn't match the foundational traditions and um so every now and then I get to struggle it, but the traditional foundation that you set
Mhm.
for those children, if it don't match your words, they're gonna be looking at you sideways, and that trust begins to erode. So we have to, and when I say we don't have a big window, it is so
Mhm.
true, because a lot of kids nowadays, with as fast as this world is moving, you get one shot. And if you mess that thing up, it doesn't matter what your record looks like. Now they're looking at you side-eyed, and guess what? You could be giving them gems from here on out. And that was just one slip up or one thing where your actions didn't match your verbals, and now
Mhm.
they don't trust you.
Well, let
So
me let me let me offer this perspective, right?
yes,
Because again, if I were to say, okay, in terms of preference of situation, right? Would you like to do it right, the right way, the first time, or would you like to pursue some sort of alternative to that? I think everyone would prefer to do things the right way,
yeah,
right? And so I think that should kind of be like the modus operandi, is to just literally go about doing things the right way. I mean, I would imagine we all have some concept of right and wrong, what's right and what's wrong, what's appropriate, what's not. Whether we practice it or not is a choice, and that's kind of what I want to like kind of point at, is choices that we make. You know, I think maybe what happens here is that we maybe become too reliant on, say, like the backup plan, right? It's always good to have a backup plan, but it's always good to stand firm on what your original intent is. Backup plans are literally only in the case of emergency. That's when you break the glass. Whereas, it seems like by a cultural practice, we do this habitual dating type of thing and all that kind of stuff. And from a cultural perspective, we've completely eschewed courtship, right? And if you literally look up the words, dating and then courtship, they literally have two definitions. The two different definitions. They're two different things. So, from a cultural perspective, there's things that are practiced that, from its concept and what it's defined as, it's actually not intended to get you the results that you're looking for. So, I mean, oftentimes I'm kind of like, it's at times I think there's just kind of maybe like a top to bottom thorough reexamination of Black culture and how it's practiced. And I really do think that there's like some new software that needs to be installed and updated, so to speak. You know, um, Yeah, because like you're right, we only have one life to live, right? So you kind of want to try to get it right as much as you can.
I agree with that. Bolo, what you got to add, if anything?
My bad. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Double. Um, to be honest with you, I was kind of distracted because part of this live that you did, you said some things that I was queuing up. I was queuing up because
Oh,
I'm gonna react to it. So I'm in the back in the OBS trying to queue it up. So yeah,
no,
I
no
mean,
worries, bro. I was just kind of speaking to just kind of how we go about handling, let's just say, black culture business.
oh,
If I can kind of,
in terms
well,
of us just dealing with each other.
yeah. It's very kind
Mhm.
of piecemeal. It's you know what I mean. It's like kind of,
Right.
I don't want to say putting a square peg into a round hole, but it is very much like a patchwork type of
It's a
thing.
painful
And there's
process.
never, well, yeah, there's never any really kind of like honest, true intention and sort of like long-term planning and building. Everything is very
Mm.
transactional and temporary. And then,
Yeah,
social media.
it's pretty
I'm
much
sorry,
what
go ahead.
Miss Akimi just covered a while ago,
Yeah.
and what the brother was saying in terms of we not planning for, we don't even see ourselves, the effects that we do right now, the seeds that we plant, how it's going to look 50 years from now, 100 years from now. We're not looking that
Well, if
far.
you do if you have kids, right? If you do if you have children, right? And
I
that's kind of
mean,
like that was what
I,
Mr. Kimmy was talking
With
about, right? The children.
respect, complex design,
Mhm.
even just because it qualifies us to have children, doesn't automatically put us in a situation where we have vision.
the mindset, exactly. I was about to say that. A lot of people that got kids still not even thinking about stuff like that, bro. Telling you.
Well, I was going to say, but isn't that part of the responsibility of parenting, right?
Oh,
Like, okay, because
we
the well,
agree.
because
We agree that that's
the
the
kids are gonna
responsibility.
ideally, right? If like God forbid something happened to them, they're supposed to outlive you, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. So if they're going to outlive you, then that means that you have to set them on a path, right? And that's where the vision on your end comes in, where you put it into the child. There's a passage in the Bible that even talks about this. It says, set a path for a child and they won't lead astray or something to that effect. I can't remember what passage it is, right? So it's even in the Bible, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we agree. All of us up here agree with the fact that you should have that mindset. The point that me and Mr.
Yeah.
Kimi is making is that a lot of people that have children, they don't see it. They don't look at stuff that they're very selfish. They're very so man. Listen, you have women and men that it's like, damn, this child came into my life and my life is screwed up. They be blaming their children, bro. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
So everybody's not thinking on the same wavelength as of consciousness as you just described, which they should.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think, well, that's the reason why conversations like this have to happen. There have to be kind of like different perspectives, so that maybe for certain people they may not have considered some things, and then they start to consider some things, and you know how these things go, right? See, so it's all up for a matter of just the conversation and what people take away from it. Um, but I would say fundamentally, like when you have a child, okay, that is your legacy. Like everybody talks about legacy and
Right.
foundation and generational things of that sort. But see, now that is that actually manifests though. So it's
Hmm.
to me it's actually not such a fuzzy idea, but more so a present reality, literally staring you in the face. Go, Dad, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's literally in your face. They're talking. Your child wants to learn about things. Are you having the conversations, teaching them about history, your own family lineage, and what have you? My daughter's been finding some amazing stuff. Right? She found an application for her great. It would be my fourth great grandmother, right? Great four greats, but it's her fifth, and this is an application for the Choctaw Nation. And this is when, in mass, a lot of people, black folk, well, at the time they were Choctaw, but then they created this new term called black, and then said, well, we're going to reject your application to be a Choctaw because we have a new Negro. I'm sorry, we have a new classification called Negro for you. And she found the actual application. And this is what she's doing. This is what she's doing. She'll be 13 in October. And you see, for me, look, she's all I got. So I got to get this right. I got to get it right. There's no excuse.
Right.
There's no
exactly.
excuse here.
I agree.
There's no excuse.
I agree. None. Hey,
There's
double
literally none.
speaks. Double speaks. I literally was just gonna say to everybody watching, you need to catch this whole video from the start. Honestly, all right. If you just coming in, you gotta catch the entire replay. Seriously.
Well, yeah, I don't want to hang it up too much, because she did come out here, and I think she is kind of saying, "What are we gonna do for dinner?" But I told her I just kind of had to handle a call. There was one other point, Akemi. You mentioned something about like sectors of YouTube. So it's funny how there's various sectors of YouTube where people kind of converge, and then they move around, and then maybe there's some overlap. And then that kind of finds, say, like me over here. I didn't know you were from over in that area of YouTube. I'm from a different place, right?
Right.
But it's the same thoughts and ideals and concerns that kind of have us now coalescing and talking about this, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I don't think everything is all bad with, say, like YouTube or social media.
Well, nothing
it's
is
really
all
just
bad. Nothing is.
Well, no,
all
I just
bad.
I really think it has more to do with human input and just what it is that you're trying to leverage or use it for. So I would just say, if what people are trying to do is seek solutions, then just keep using these tools to do it. You'll be right.
Yep, I think so. All right, Mr. Kimi, I appreciate you. You know that. Appreciate the platform. I'm about to slide out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm busy bee.
I'll just say that when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh, you too sweet.
I appreciate you always being so on point, being such a support, and definitely adding value to everything that I have going on over here. So much love to you. Always respect. And
Yes.
whenever
Same
I
here.
am able, I will definitely always be present in your situation as well. Thank you so much, Bolo.
You're welcome. I wish I could do more, honestly, but that's,
Enough.
God in God's time, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the key. Those are the key words right there, is in God's time. As long as you're on purpose for what God has designed for you and you are moving accordingly, I support you in it all.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and
All right,
I gotta get going. I gotta go run and grab something. I totally forgot. My daughter has a hair appointment. 45 minutes. See you there.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
bro.
baby.
Respect.
Babies, go take care of the babies. I appreciate
That's right.
so much for being
Okay.
here. All
All
right.
right, Mr. Kimmy, thank you for having me up.
Thank you for being here. Okay.
Respect Complex Design. Salute.
All right, brother. Peace.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. All right, Mr. Kimi. Salute. All right.
Salute.
You have a good night.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Yes, so I appreciate everybody for being here. I didn't kind of anticipate, though I didn't know how long this live is going to be. So again, if you're catching the replay, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, turn your notifications to all notifications due to the fact that I don't have a set schedule and I am spirit led for the most part. There are times where the spirit doesn't speak to me on a regular basis based off the YouTube expectations and the people's expectations. However, I still try to make sure I pop up and pop out and keep my presence in the algorithm as much as I can under the circumstances, as long as I am bringing substance, truth, authenticity, and transparency to my platform. That is what I care about the most. So Um, I want to just say I appreciate y'all for being here. If you're catching the replay, I appreciate that as well. I am monetized as far as super chats and memberships. So if you consider either, I appreciate you and thank you in advance for both or either. And with that being said, I've been praying and hoping that you were able to gain some edification, and I didn't have a huge audience on the live, but I'm telling you, whoever this replay reaches on the replay, um, I appreciate y'all. So thank you so much, and I hope y'all have a great night. And I'll also let me just go through my chat a little bit because I didn't have a huge chat, but I feel touched and I want to thank individually those that I can for being here. Candy James, if I did not acknowledge you publicly, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And we got CX 2.0 in the building, always, always, always. Much love, peace, and blessings to you. Thank you for being here. We got the EP 305. Thank you for your presence. We got double speaks in the house. Baby, go catch the replay. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth your while. I promise you. Promise you, I was in my bag today, baby. I was in my bag, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if there's anybody that I missed, I apologize and I'm sorry. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody. And I hope your night is peaceful, that you have a great night's rest whenever you decide to lay it down. And for God's sake, y'all, for God's sake, if you have children of your own or somebody else's children, put them first. That's all I got to say is consider your 5, 10, 20-year vision and plan and goal, however you look at it, consider them to be the top priority, because they will actually help you construct your goal to be more fruitful, more sustainable, and more long lasting and more relevant. Because when we're long gone and we're out of here and God done called us home, or whoever done called us home, we acquiesce to, they're going to be here in order to transfer and to continue that lineage, that legacy, that wisdom, that knowledge, that understanding, good or bad. You got to take them both, because that's what brings balance in this world, right? So I just want to encourage us, please consider the family foundation, consider our children, because they matter. They're the only reason, and I'm gonna be bold enough to say this, and I'm gonna bow out. I'm gonna bow out gracefully. I really feel in my heart of hearts for my situation and my testimony and my spirit that God has spared me through breast cancer, through near-death experiences. I have people in my family and in my immediate circle that have been called home for much less. So I truly believe that it is my determination and my dedication to my children, to my legacy, to my parents' legacy, to my great parents' legacy, that the weight is on my shoulders, and I accept it gracefully and I accept it humbly. But that's why I'm still here. And I believe that in my soul of souls. And that's why I take it so seriously and why I become emotional. It's because I understand the gravity of our children being catered to, being corrected, being loved, being guided, and being poured into at the end of the day. And with that being said, I love y'all, and I'm out. Peace and blessings.